Taylor shocked us all when she announced her 11th studio album at the 66th Grammy Awards. And that was well over 3 weeks ago, and I really wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about it, but then I was traveling and then I was sick. So basically I didn't have time to put anything together until now. So let's just go through everything that we know so far about the Tortured Poets Department and talk about some theories. Tortured Poets Department. Just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? Let's start off with the hot and juicy theories revolving the release date, which is April 19th. And some of these get a little crazy. So let's start off with the really basic ones. April is actually the month that her breakup with Joe Alwyn went public. More specifically though, April 19th is the day of the great unfollowing of Joe Alwyn. So if you need a reminder, that was the day that Taylor went out for dinner with Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and then after that dinner, they had just unfollowed Joe Alwyn. It was also noticed that the Haim sisters were no longer following him. Taylor's brother wasn't following him. Now, lining up with the themes of the album, April 19th is also the day of poetry and mind, which is a little too on the dot for this album. Can you imagine you want to release an album about poetry and Poetry Day just happens to be the same day of the great unfollowing of your ex-boyfriend? April 19th is also National Cat Lady Day. So at this point, I'm just wondering if she's planning these holidays 3 years in advance. She makes them up, and then by the time the album comes out, we're all like, oh wow, so many coincidences. Now, here's kind of a crazy one. April 19th was also the Battle of Lexington and Concord, which was part of the American Revolution, where 13, yes, I repeat, 13 of Great Britain's North American colonies threw off British rule. So obviously, if we're using this as a metaphor, Joe Alwyn is the Brit and Taylor is obviously the US. And the final theory that I got is that the day before, on April 18th, Emma Laird, I don't know how to say her name, shared this photo of Joe to her Instagram, which just had Swifties going insane. It was part of her March photo dump, and he's just casually riding his scooter, but it had people coming up with all kinds of cheating theories. Now let's talk a little bit about the announcement. Of course, we already talked about that. She did it at the Grammy Awards, but it was actually after winning her 13th Grammy. So I guess this felt like the right moment to do it. Her first show in Tokyo, she also let us know that her backup was that she would have announced it in Tokyo had she not won the Grammys. She also told us she has been working on Tortured Poets, which by the way is what we're calling this now because ain't nobody gonna be saying Tortured Poets Department every time. But she's been working on this since she turned Midnights in. Now Midnights came out October 2022, which means she has been working on this at least a few months before that. But she said she's also been working on it throughout the Eras tour, which makes it really interesting because so many things have happened in that time. Obviously her very public breakup with Joe, which thanks to Jank Antonoff spilling the tea, we know that this could have already been happening since December of 2021. And of course, we also had all the rumors that she was dating Matt Healy of the 1975. And I mean, we know that there was potentially a version of Slut that they recorded together, which was then not included. So there could be some sort of song about whatever went down there. Now let's take a closer look at the post that she made the day that she announced the Tortured Poets. She wrote, "All's fair in love and poetry," which is a play on the idiom "all's fair in love and war," which is used to describe a situation where people don't follow the usual rules. So essentially everything is fair play. So what I think she's telling us here is that when it comes to love and her art, so her songwriting, her music, she is free to speak her mind, her truth, and that is what she's gonna give us. The artwork is really breathtaking. I really love this cover. Like, it feels a little sexy, but it also feels personal and vulnerable. So this new era is clearly gonna be in the color white. The second part of this post also had some text, and the image looked like a file, which we will talk about a little later. And it says, "And so I enter into evidence my tarnished coat of arms, my muses, acquired like bruises, my talismans and charms." So of course, this file could be her like physically entering something into evidence, which I think is going to be some sort of theme that we will see throughout the album. So let's talk about what this could potentially mean. So she talks about her tarnished coat of arms. A coat of arms is usually a symbol that kind of represents somebody. So for me, this is almost in relation to her Reputation era, when her reputation was at her very worst, or she's just making it into a symbolism about her feeling a little bit broken down. Maybe she feels people have devalued her or her work, But for me, that doesn't really fit in the timeline right now, because I feel like right now she's kind of like at the peak of her career. Although that also can come with a lot of downsides, so I'm not sure if it's in relation to the Reputation era or something that she feels like she is facing right now. Up next, we have muses acquired like bruises. So the picture that she's painting here is that her music comes from really like painful experiences. Then she talks about her talismans and charms, which are objects created to heal, protect, or even harm people. So the image that I see here is that Taylor has tried to protect herself through acquiring talismans, charms. She just does her best to build up those walls and keep herself safe. But this can also be seen as a desperate call for help, as this is somebody trying everything to stay safe. And this final segment reads, "The tick, tick, tick of love bombs, my veins of pitch black ink," which is essentially letting us know that if she had been holding anything back, it was just basically a time bomb ticking down to the moment of the explosion. She describes her veins as being made of pitch black ink, and this ink is representing the way she expresses herself through words. If I have to guess, these are going to be the lyrics that will belong to the title track, if they are lyrics, but I think chances are that they are, except for that last bit where she says signed by the Tortured Poets Apartment. Now let's talk about that album title. First of all, it is by far the longest album title we have seen from Taylor. She usually likes something more snappy, like Speak Now, Lover, Reputation. So maybe the title itself is some sort of clue to the evolution that she's going through, an era of big changes. Now, a connection people made immediately when this title came out is that Joe Alwyn told Variety that he was in a group chat called the Tortured Man's Club.
So what's the name of the WhatsApp group that we're in? Tortured...
It's either the Tortured or the Lonely. Tortured Man Club, I think.
Now let's take a closer look at the track list, which she dropped just like that. I think people were expecting she would play some kind of game with us or give us some clues, or that there would be some Easter egg hunt, but honestly, Taylor just really knows how to keep us on our toes. Now there's 16 tracks, but I don't want to sit here and talk about all of them because we will be here forever. So let's talk about the highlights. Starting with the opening track, which is called Fortnite, and it's featuring Post Malone. So starting off really strong, I do like Post Malone, so I'm very curious how this is gonna sound. Of course, we've had this kind of, not viral, but this leak circulating on TikTok that a lot of us have heard. Now this TikTok leak supposedly is AI generated, but nobody knows. We had something similar with Suburban Legends for 1989. To be honest, either way, I like what was leaked. Now, if it was AI generated, that's still really cool that AI could create something that sounds fun and kind of falls in line with the sound that I almost feel like will be the sound of this album. What did you guys think about this leak AI generated whatever version of this song? Next, we have the Tortured Poets Department, which is the title track. My biggest question here is if she will actually say Tortured Poets Department somewhere in the lyrics. But like I said, if I have to guess, the lyrics she shared on her Instagram will correspond to this song. Next up, we have My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. To me, this sounds like a Fall Out Boy song, so I'm surprised that it's not featuring Patrick Stump. Let's go down to So Long London, which I think a lot of fans stopped on their tracks when they saw it because we've gone from London Boy to So Long London. Then we have a song called But Daddy, I Love Him. So this could be giving like The Little Mermaid. Daddy, I love him! Which, by the way, I just found out was released in 1989. So talk about Easter eggs. Not to mention that the whole premise of the movie is that Ariel gives up her voice to be with a man and try to live a normal human life. And so people are drawing parallels to this and her relationship with Joe Alwyn. Because as we know, he really wanted to stay out of the spotlight, and it's just almost impossible to do that when you're dating someone who is just that famous. It's almost just like being in denial, like, okay, I'm with this person, I have to accept them for how they are, and this is just part of their life. And regarding this track, also this picture has been circulating of Harry Styles wearing a t-shirt that says this. My first thought would have been like, oh my god, we're gonna get a feature, but after 1989, I think we learned our lesson there. We just cannot clown that hard again. Track 8 is Florida, featuring Florence and the Machine. The 3 exclamation marks just give chaos. And people were also very quick to point out that her Tampa, Florida show was the first show where she performed after her breakup with Joe went to the public. LMOL could be for Love of My Life, but people are also wondering if maybe she's given it a darker twist. Like it could be something like A Loss of My Lover. We have Clara Bow, which I think confused a lot of people. So I did some Googling because I honestly didn't know, but she's an American actress who rose to stardom during the silent film era in 1920. 2020. And people think she will maybe draw parallels to Clara Bow and herself. Alright, let's talk about the variations now. Some people were shocked left and right that they ordered the version she announced and then she put out other versions. I'm like, we've seen it in 1989, we've seen it in other albums, like it's not really a surprising thing at this point. So if you want to order vinyls, better just wait if you want to see the full range that she's gonna put out. It is also just a marketing tactic. It's about getting the charts. Of course, it's also a money thing. The first version that she announced is the manuscript, so that is the bonus track. To me, that sounds like that song will potentially be exploring the theme of her taking back her own music. On April 16th, she announced the Bolter, which featured a slightly more sepia tone. Now, what is the Bolter? There are many theories. First of all, it could come just from the word bolt, so somebody who bolts, who runs away. Then there's also a book called The Bolter, which was about a lady who was known for marrying and divorcing men. And we've heard of Taylor Swift writing songs based on books before, for example, Tolerated. The Bolter is also a type of gun. And finally, Google led me to find that there is a bar in London called The Bolter. What do you guys think of this one? And the final variant so far is the Albatross, which first of all, I just find it funny that people are suggesting that she dressed up as an albatross. Like, maybe, like, I see what you mean, but just in my head, it's kind of funny to think that she woke up and she was like, well, my Easter egg is that I'm gonna dress up like an albatross. The cover, once again, goes a little bit more gray. Now, there's this theory floating around that we are gonna have 5 versions of the album and they're gonna be going through the stages of grief, and it's gonna go from light to dark. So we're gonna end up in black. For me, the reverse would make more sense, so the white being the acceptance and the black being the denial. Now, to add one more thing to this, yesterday, or depending on when this video goes up, Taylor did a mashup of I Don't Want to Live Forever and Dress, and she live streamed it. So people were expecting she was going to announce something because the live stream was like a message from the Poets department. But it was just a live stream of the mashup. She also posted with this black heart, whereas she had been posting with the white heart. So a lot of people think that this is a sign that she will be announcing Reputation in the next few days. But for me, it would be weird that she would make that a message from the Poets department. So I have a theory that maybe this whole theory about the stages of depression is wrong and there will be 4 albums and the next one will be the black one. Because it would also just be such a good way for her to like make us clown again for Reputation. Like, I feel like she has us begging for the Reputation announcement. So I see a lot of people thinking that that's what's gonna come next, but I'm not sure. I'm not convinced. I think we might be wrong about the stages of grief and all that, and I think maybe there will be only 4 variations. Oh my god. Okay, first of all, I just got back from a bottomless brunch, which is why I look like this and my makeup is just like super rough. But Taylor announced the 4th and final version of the Poets department, which is in fact black, which means that my theory that I recorded earlier today was right. The reason that she posted that black heart was not related to Reputation, but about the final version or variant of the Poets department, which is like with the black border. Maybe since she's been putting so much attention on all these mashups, maybe she's gonna also announce a mashup album. I mean, I would love that. A girl can dream. Seems unlikely. If you have any theories, please drop them below because I love reading them and exploring and just going deep into everything Taylor Swift. And especially let me know if there's anything major that I have missed. As I said, I had been off on holidays, so I had been kind of missing out on everything. And I made like a 13-page script for this video, which is already kind of on the dot for a Taylor Swift video, but it is possible I missed some stuff. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!